Sometimes on my travels, like here at Chincoteague, Virginia, I'll stop at the end of the day to reflect and I'll think, there's an awful lot of kindness out there. But there are other times when, at the end of the day, I'll think, man, there's a lot of meanness out there. And that's just the way it is. There are lots of stories about kindness and stories about kindness rewarded. I found a collection of kindness stories in this little book by Margaret Reed MacDonald, and it's entitled Kindness Tales. I'll share some of them with you. I hope you'll enjoy them. There once came a knock, knock, knock at the wooden door of a small home. The mother answered, and outside were 3 strangers. "Who are you? What can I do for you?" The first spoke. "I am wealth." The second spoke. "I am success." The third. "I am love." Well, by all means, please, come in, come in." Wealth spoke again. "Only one of us may be invited in. Only one can fit." Now, the father had overheard the conversation and spoke to his wife. "Oh, invite wealth in. Oh, we could do with a little money. That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful." But the mother thought, our son is just starting out in life. Wouldn't it be better to invite success into our home? And the husband smiled at the wisdom of his wife. You are right, you are right. And they were ready to invite success into their home when the son spoke up. "Mother, father, isn't it because of the great love that we have for one another? Isn't that what makes our family so strong?" And now the mother and father smiled at the wisdom of their son. And so they turned to the strangers and they invited love into their home. But love crossed the threshold, followed by wealth, and followed by success. And the family members looked and they were puzzled. I thought you said only one could come in." Wealth spoke. "That was true. If you had invited me, I would have been the only one to come in." And then success spoke. "And if you had invited me, I would have been the only one to come into your home." And then love. "But because you have invited me into your home, wherever I go, my companions follow." And so that family lived in love and wealth and success. When you get that knock at your door, I hope you'll know who to invite in. There are lots of stories about kindness to animals and lots of stories about animals that transform into humans. This is such a story, and it's called The Frog Bride. There was once a farmer who had 3 sons, and as he got older, there was something that weighed heavily on his mind. I don't know which one of my sons I should give my farm to. Now, let me just jump out of my story for a moment. There are lots of stories about a farmer or a wealthy man who has a home, a chunk of land, a farm, and he's got to give that to one of his 3 sons. Now, why he doesn't share it with all 3, I don't know. It's just the way those stories go. So, I don't know who should I give my farm to. And then he had an idea. he called his sons to his side. My boys, it's important that each of you has a good helpmate, a wife to help you make the farm a success. I'm going to give the farm to whichever one of you has the best helpmate, the best wife. And the test will be this. I'm going to give you each a bundle of flax. Whichever one of your girlfriends can spin the finest thread from that flax, I will give the farm to that son. Now, I'm going to step out of my story again. I think it's a crazy idea, but that's just the way the story goes. And I guess I should explain to you that, well, today, if you want a shirt or a vest or a piece of clothing, you go to the store and you buy it. Back in the old days, you grew this plant called flax, and you harvested it, and then you worked it, and then you had a spinning wheel, and you turned that flax into thread, and then you turned that thread into cloth, and then you stitched it together to make a shirt. Anyway, those 3 sons each received a bundle of flax. And that night at supper, the 2 older sons began to tease the youngest, whose name was Hans. And some people called him Simple Hans. Hans, you're going to give your flax to your girlfriend, knowing that he did not have a girlfriend. Hans said nothing. His 2 older brothers often teased him, sometimes tortured him just for fun. So he said nothing, but when he was done with supper, he took his bundle of flax and he left. And he went to the place where he always went when he wanted to find peace and quiet and solitude and solace. He went to the forest. And he walked through the forest, mumbling and grumbling to himself, when suddenly he heard a little voice. Hey, 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 watch out, watch out, watch out. You're going to step on me, you're going to step on me. Hans stopped. Oh, I'm sorry. Here, let me pick you up and put you out of harm's way. And he bent down and he lifted up a little frog. Let me place you on this log here. You'll be safe there. The frog thanked him. That was very kind of you. I'm so glad you didn't step on me. Oh, I would never think to step on you. You look upset, said the frog. Oh, I am. Well, sit down and tell me about it. So Hans sat with the frog, and he told all about his mean brothers and his father and the farm and the flax and the contest. And the frog thought and said, I'll tell you what. If you let me be your girlfriend, I will take that flax and I will turn it into the finest thread anyone has ever seen. Now, Hans laughed. Oh, you can't be my girlfriend. Why not? Well, you're a frog. Don't you like me? Oh, I do like you. Oh, well, didn't we have pleasant conversation? Yes, we did. Don't we get along? We do. Then let me be your girlfriend. Now, Hans, he thought about it. What do I have to lose? Oh, okay. I'll give you the flax. I will spin this flax into the finest thread, I promise. Now, come back in 3 days. But, Hans, you must promise me this. If I spin this flax into the finest thread, you must promise to be my husband. Ask me to be your wife. And Hans looked at the frog. Why? I can't do that. Why not? Because you're a frog. Don't you like me? I do like you. Am I not your girlfriend? Yeah, you are. Well, then ask me to be your wife. Now Hans, he was kind of confused, but he thought for a moment. Boy, I know a lot of folks who are married, and And all they do is holler at each other, the husband and the wife, and the wife and the husband, and they don't get along. And, well, I could do worse. All right, I will marry you. Fine, come back in 3 days and I will have this flax turned into thread. And so Hans went home. Now, that night at supper, two older brothers had given their flax to their girlfriends, and they were eating, and they turned to Hans. Hans, did you give your flax to your girlfriend? And well, you see, because Hans could not lie, that was his fault. He could not lie. Yes, I did. Well, didn't that stop them? What? Hans has a girlfriend? Who is this young lady? And again, because Hans could not lie, she's a frog. The two brothers exploded. A frog! Hans has a frog as his girlfriend. They laughed and laughed, punched him in the arm, made fun of him. And Hans just, with his head down, ate his supper and grumbled and mumbled. Now 3 days went by, and Hans went to see the frog. He didn't even expect to really see her, but there she was. And went, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Why, that is the finest thread I've ever seen in my life. You have done it. That's right. Now you take this back. You will inherit the farm. And once the farm is yours, set a date for our wedding. Now, listen carefully, Hans. Have the finest dress made for me. It must be the dress fit for a count's daughter, and it must be the size to fit a count's daughter. On the day of the wedding, have it hanging in the vestry of the church. When the bells ring, I will be there. Promise, Hans. I promise. And Hans was not one to break a promise. And so he left. Now, when he got back to the farm and the father saw that thread, the farm became his. And the two older brothers, they were so angry they left. And now Hans announced the wedding. He had a dress made of the finest material, fit for a count's daughter, and he had it hanging in the vestry of the church. And on the day of the wedding, all the neighbors were there, and Hans stood in the church, and the bells rang, and everyone turned to look, and up the steps of that church, hop, hop, hopped a frog, and everyone gasped. And that frog hopped, hopped, hopped right to that dress, went underneath the dress, and then hopped right up into it. And immediately, 2 human legs grew out of the bottom of the dress. 2 human arms grew out of the sleeves of the dress. A human head came out of the neck, and standing there was the most beautiful woman that anyone had ever seen. And this young woman turned and saw Hans, and she smiled and walked to his side. Hans took her by the arm. They walked to the altar. He said, I do. She said, I do. And now I guess I don't have to tell you that they lived happily ever after. There once were 2 sisters who were as different as, well, rain and shine, hot and cold, night and day. Bess was thoughtful, kind, generous. Her sister Tess, mean, angry, cruel, thoughtless. Now one day, Bess's mother called to her, Bess, would you take the wooden bucket and go to the well at the end of the world and get some water? Bess smiled. Of course, Mother, I will. And she grabbed that bucket and off she went. Well, down the path she went with the bucket, singing her song. Going to the well at the end of the world, what a lovely day. Going to the well at the end of the world, what a lovely... Oh my goodness! Out of the forest jumped a bear right in her path. Roar! Mr. Bear, why are you so angry, so grouchy, so grumpy? The sun is shining. The forest is beautiful. Be happy. Now, would you, could you, might you consider allowing me to pass? I'm going to the well at the end of the world to retrieve some water. Now, the bear was a bit confused. No one ever talks to me like that. All the people, they take their guns and try to shoot me. You are so kind, I will let you pass. And so, Bess passed and smiled at the bear. Have a good day. And she began singing, going to the well at the end of the world. What a lovely day. Going to the well at the... Oh, my goodness! And out of the forest jumped a mountain lion. Now, that mountain lion showed its sharp teeth, arched its back. And Bess just looked at that mountain lion and smiled. Mr. Mountain Lion, why are you so angry? So grouchy, so grumpy. The sun is shining. The forest is beautiful. It's a beautiful day. Be happy. Now, Mr. Mountain Lion, I wonder, might you consider allowing me to pass? I'm going to the well at the end of the world to retrieve some water. Now, that mountain lion felt the same way the bear did. No human ever talks to me like that. They throw sticks at me. They throw rocks at me. You are so kind, I will let you pass. Well, thank you. Enjoy this sunny day. And off went Bess. Going to the well at the end of the world. What a lovely day. Going to the well at the end of the world. Oh, my goodness. And there, standing in the path right in front of her, was a wild boar. And that boar looked at Bess and... Mr. Boar, why so angry? Why so grouchy? Why so grumpy? It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining. The forest is beautiful. Be happy. Now, Mr. Boar, I wonder, would you, could you, might you consider allowing me to pass? I'm going to the well at the end of the world to retrieve some water. Now, Boar was really taken aback, confused, puzzled. Every human I encounter looks at me and calls me a rotten, stinking pig. You are so kind to me. You may pass. Thank you, Mr. Boar. And down the path went Bess, going to the well at the end of the world. What a love. And by, she came to the well at the end of the world. And she dipped in her wooden bucket, and nearby, hidden by some tall grasses, were 3 little foxes. And they saw Bess. Look, a girl. It's a girl. Hey, girl, come here, come here. Well, Bess went over. Oh, aren't you the loveliest, most adorable little things? Girl, said the first fox, pick me up, wash my face, lay me down right easy? Why, of course. And Bess picked up that little fox, dabbed its cheeks with the water, and laid him down gently. The second fox called out, Girl, pick me up, wash my face, lay me down right easy. Oh, absolutely. And she lifted that fox up, dabbed his cheeks, and laid him down with a smile. And now the third little fox. Girl, pick me up, wash my face, lay me down right easy. and she did the same. Now, Bess started on her way home. On my way, going home. And she sang her song. And those three foxes, sitting in that tall grass, the first one said, I'm going to make a wish for that girl. I wish that when she speaks her words of kindness, golden coins will roll out of her mouth. And the second fox said, I have a wish for her. Whenever she sneezes, diamonds will shoot out of her nose. And the third fox, my wish is that when she washes her face, all of her kindness will show through to anyone who sees her. Now Bess arrived home, and her mother, Bess, did you get the water from the well at the end of the world? I did, Mother. Here it is. And as soon as she spoke, those golden coins rolled out of her mouth. And because the trail had been dusty, she sneezed, and diamonds shot from her nose. And later that day, when she washed her face, her kindness showed so that anyone looking upon her could see. Now that evening, she told her mother and her sister what had happened. And the next day, her mother asked Tess, Tess, would you go to the end of the world, to the well at the end of the world, and get some water? Of course I will. I want to get my reward. And she grabbed that bucket and off she went. And as she went down the road, she sang, going to the well at the end of the world, going to get my prize, going to the world at the well at the end of the world, better get out of my way. And that's when that bear came out of the woods and blocked her path. But Tess knew exactly what to do. She didn't hesitate. She took that great big heavy wooden bucket and swung it around and bam, hit that bear right on the nose. And that bear went running back into the woods. Ha 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 ha. And Tess continued, going to the well at the end of the world, better get out of my way. Going to the well at the end of the world. And that's when that mountain lion jumped into the path. And again, just like that, Tess took that bucket and swung it around and boom, hit that mountain lion right in his face, and he ran back into the woods. Ha ha ha. Going to the well at the end of the world, better get out of my way. Going to the well. And there was that boar looking at Tess. And again, Tess, boom, crashed him right in the face, and the boar went running into the woods. And Tess continued on her way, and she found the well at the end of the world, put her bucket in and began to lift the water when she heard the voices of those three foxes. Girl, come here. Ah, here's where I get my prize. And she walked over to those foxes, and the first fox said, Girl, lift me up, wash my face, lay me down right easy. And Tess grabbed that fox, dunked his head into that bucket of water, and threw him down. Ha ha ha. The second fox, girl, lift me up, wash my face, and lay me down right easy. And Tess grabbed that fox, put his head into the water, and threw him down. I'm going to get my prize. The third fox, girl, lift me up, wash my face, lay me down right easy. Ha ha! She lifted that poor little fox up, dunked his head in that water till bubbles came up, threw him down, and then turned around and hurried on her way home. Going from the well at the end of the world, I'm going to get my prize. Now those three foxes were sitting in the grass, and the first one said, I'm making a wish for that girl. I wish that whenever she speaks her words of meanness, frogs will hop from her mouth. And the second fox said, and my wish is that when she sneezes, corn will shoot from her nose. And the third fox said, and my wish, whenever she washes her face, any meanness and cruelty that is inside will show to anyone who looks at her. Now Tess got home and her mother said, Tess, did you bring me the water from the well at the end of the world? Yeah, here it is. But as soon as she spoke, hop, 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 out of her mouth hopped green frogs, and they were hopping all over the floor of their little cottage. And because the trail had been so dusty, when Tess sneezed, corn came shooting out of her nose. And later, when she washed her face, all the meanness, all the cruelty and thoughtlessness that were contained within her showed itself to all who looked upon her. And so, Bess and Tess and their mother lived with lots of gold coins and diamonds and kindness and lots of green frogs and corn and meanness. And because I taught sixth graders for so many years, I know what you're going to want to ask me. Did Tess ever change her ways? Well, that's not in the story. But if you travel far enough, if you travel long enough, you might just come across Tess, and then you'll know. There are many stories about animals, beasts, who transform into humans because of an act of kindness. Probably the best known is Beauty and the Beast. This story is a variant of that one. Under the spreading chestnut tree, where I held you on my knee, we were happy as can be, under the spreading chestnut tree. There was once a wealthy man who was on a journey when suddenly out of the woods came highwaymen, thieves, robbers. They jumped upon him, stripped him of his fine clothing, took all of his possessions, and now they began to beat him and beat him. They were going to beat him to death. When suddenly, out of nowhere came a dog. Now, this was not an ordinary dog. No, this was a great, smelly, slobbery dog. And that great, smelly, slobbery dog attacked those highwaymen, bit them, scratched them, chased them away. Now the wealthy man gathered his clothing and dressed himself and gathered all his possessions while the dog sat. And then the man addressed the dog. My friend, you have saved my life, and for this I shall reward you. Would you like a reward? Woof, I would. In my house, I have many rewards, many great things. You may choose. I know. I have a fish. This fish speaks 100 languages. Would you like that fish as your reward? Woof, I would not. I have a bird. This bird sings 100 songs. Would you like that bird as your reward? Woof, I would not. Now the man thought, I owe you my life. I will give you my greatest treasure. Come to my house tomorrow. I will give you my goose. I have a goose that lays 1 golden egg a day, and that treasure will be yours. Woof, I do not want that treasure. Well, then come to my house and you could have anything you want, whatever you like. The dog responded, In your house is a young woman. She's a beautiful young woman, your daughter. She is your greatest treasure. That is what I want for my reward." And the dog bounded off, leaving the man standing there. No, you can't have. Now it was true. His daughter was his greatest treasure, but he didn't think of her in that way. "Oh, I will not give my daughter away to this dog. No." And so he went home and he told the story to his daughter, and his daughter listened. "Father, you gave your word. You must keep it. I am not worried. I will go with this great, smelly, slobbery dog." And so the next day, the dog arrived at the wealthy man's home, and he approached the young woman. "If you wish to go with me, jump on my back. I will take you to my house." And so she did. Now, they raced through some fields, and they came to a great hedge. It was a high hedge, and he easily jumped over. They raced through some fields and came to a second hedge, and he easily jumped over that one. They came to a third hedge, and he bounded right over, and he raced through some fields and stopped at his house. Now the young woman jumped off and looked. "This is not a house. This is a castle. This is where you live. This is my home, and you may live here too. Come, I will show you." And he showed the young woman to his house. He opened the doors, and she stepped in, and there are crystal chandeliers, stained glass windows. The floors are marble. "I will show you your room." And he took her to a room that was a beautiful big room. And whose clothing is this? "It is all yours." I have never seen such exquisite clothing." "Let me show you the library." "You have a library? A room with nothing but books?" "I do." And he showed her. And so she decided to live there with the great, smelly, slobbery dog. And every afternoon, they would go out to the great lawn where they would sit under the spreading chestnut tree, and she would take a golden ball and throw it as far as she could. And that dog would go running after and bring it back. And after some time, he would lay his head on her lap, and she would stroke his fur and say, "Oh, you great, smelly, slobbery dog, you are as sweet as a rainbow." And so they lived. But one day, the dog noticed that she looked unhappy. "What is it? Aren't you happy here?" "I miss my father. I miss my father. I will take you to visit. Jump on my back." And so she did. And they raced through the fields to that first hedge. And when he got to the hedge, he said, "What is it you call me? You say to me every day, you are as sweet as a rainbow." "Woof, yes." And he jumped over the hedge. They got to the second hedge, and he said, What is it you say to me every day?" And now she was thinking about being home, about visiting her father. And she said, "You great, smelly, slobbery dog." "Woof, no." And he turned around, and he went back home. Now the next day, the dog noticed that there was a tear in the young woman's eye, and he said, "You are not happy." "I miss my father." "Jump on my back. I will take you to visit." And so she did. They got to that first hedge, and the dog said, "What is it you say to me every day?" You are as sweet as a rainbow." "Woof, yes." And he jumped over that hedge, and he raced to the second hedge. "What is it you say to me every day?" You're as sweet as a rainbow." "Woof, yes." And he jumped over that second hedge, and he got to the third hedge, and he said, "What is it you say to me every day?" And now the young woman, she was thinking about being home, visiting with her father, and she said, you great, smelly, slobbery dog." "Woof, no." And he turned around and took her back. The next day, he saw that streaks of tears ran down her cheeks. You are unhappy. I miss my father. I miss my home. I will take you there. Jump on my back. And she did. And they raced to that first hedge. What is it you say to me every day? You are as sweet as a rainbow. Woof, yes. And he jumped over the hedge. He got to the second hedge. What is it you say to me every day? You are as sweet as a rainbow. Yes. And he jumped over that hedge and he got to that third hedge and he said, what is it you say to me every day? You are as sweet as a rainbow. Woof, yes. And he jumped over that hedge and now he raced right to the cottage door and she jumped off and he said, what is it you say to me every day? And she could see the door. She was ready to walk in and she said, oh, you great smelly slut. But then she looked into the eyes of the dog and she saw the sorrow and the pain that was held within. And she smiled. You are as sweet as a rainbow. Woof! Yes! And he jumped onto his hind legs, ripped off his fur, and standing there was a young, handsome man. He turned to the young woman and smiled. Thank you. Thank you. You have saved my life. You have taken away this evil enchantment that I've been living with for years. It was cast upon me years ago, and for this I will be forever grateful. And then he got down on his knee and he said, if you would allow me, I would like to court you. And so they visited with the young woman's father, and she agreed to be courted. And so he courted her respectfully, with politeness, with honor. And one day he asked her and she said yes. So he said, I do. And she said, I do. And they were wed. And he took her back to the castle. And every day they would go out to that great lawn. And she would throw that golden ball. And he would run after it and bring it back to her. And then he would lay his head on her lap. And she would stroke his black hair and smile and say, oh, you beautiful young man, you are as sweet as a rainbow. And so they lived happily ever after. Under the spreading chestnut tree, where I held you on my knee, we were happy as can be, under the spreading chestnut tree. The Magic Ring. There once was a man who possessed a magic ring, and that ring was inscribed with 3 words: wisdom, grace, kindness. And because that ring was inscribed with those 3 words, and it was a magic ring, that man acted with great wisdom, grace, kindness. And as a result, he was loved, respected, revered by everyone in the land. Now, like some of us, that man, he got old. And now he had a decision to make. I have 1 ring, but I have 3 sons. To whom shall I give this ring? And that worry weighed heavily on his mind for some time, until one day, I have an idea. He called the greatest jeweler in the world. I have a ring. I would like 2 replicas made, 2 exact copies. They must be exact so that no one can tell them apart. And the inscriptions on the ring must be the same. Well, the jeweler took the ring And he used all the skills that he had possessed, and he made 2 duplicates, replicas, exact copies. So now there were 3 rings. And on his deathbed, this old man called his eldest son to his side. My son, I bestow upon you my ring. Use it well. Well, the son was filled with pride, with humility, with gratefulness. Thank you, Father. I will not fail you. I will do my best. And so he left. And now the father called the second son to his side. My son, I'm going to bestow upon you my ring. Use it well. And the second son, thank you, Father. Thank you for putting such great trust in me. And then he called his youngest son, my son, I bestow upon you my magic ring. And he took the ring off and he gave it to his son. And again, this son, thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. I will use it well. Well, the man died, and at the funeral, the 3 sons looked at each other and they saw the rings. Father gave his ring to me. Oh, no, you're mistaken, my brother. I have his ring. No, you're both wrong. I have his ring. And they argued for some time. And then they left, and each one believed that he owned the original ring. And so now each son was determined to prove that he had the magic ring. And so every single day, each one of those brothers worked hard to gain as much wisdom as he could, to show as much grace as he could, and to share as much kindness as he could. And so it was after some time that everyone came to know these 3 brothers who acted with wisdom and grace and kindness, all because of a magic ring.